So, when we're talking about sexual reproduction in animals, pinaka-importante, as already mentioned during our discussion in the plants, two essential characteristics or things. Number one is the fusion of gametes, and then secondly naman, nagiging genetically different ang offspring because there will be a combination of the genetic information which results into sexual reproduction. So those are again the essential or characteristics of sexual reproduction. Two parents, at the same time the fusion of the gametes of these two parents resulting to genetically different parents. Now with that, this will be a picture of sexual reproduction. So you are already very familiar with this one. So first of all, just like in the plants, do remember, merong haploid at merong diploid. Pero magkaiba nga lamang yung alternation of generation, not applicable to human beings and higher animals. So what happens here? This is the haploid cells, so the egg cell and the sperm cell. One is coming from the ovary, the other is coming from the testes, and this will undergo fertilization. They will fuse together to produce a diploid zygote, eventually that is undergoing cell division, undergoing mitosis, so the zygote will divide until you produce the embryo, and eventually it will be born, and eventually increase of cell mass again to produce the toddler, to produce the adolescent, and later the adult human being. So that would be sexual reproduction in animals. So actually very familiar siya, no? So can I see a clap reaction if this is already very familiar with you? Okay, so let's now continue. This is another diagram showing us here more details given here. For the humans, 46 chromosomes, which would be in 23 pairs, which is indicative of diploid organism. And then you also have a male who has 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. This is diploid organism. The egg cell and the sperm cell, as you can see already, the information, 23 chromosomes, which mean haploid na siya. No longer in pairs, kundi single chromosome set na yan, undergoing fertilization, and then after undergoing the fertilization, returning back to 23 pairs, then you will have your embryo developing into the organism, or at least the human being in our diagram. Okay, ang question, saan lupalop nang galing ang mga sperm cells sa mga egg cells na ito? You're already very familiar that this will be part of the reproductive system, and particularly the gonads. And there are two gonads here. You have the ovaries and also the testes. So this would be the thing that we'll be discussing in the next couple of meetings natin. And the ovaries produces the answer to this is that the testes would be producing the sperm cell and the ovary will be producing the egg cell dito. Now, interesting, sa mga susunod nating meetings, we will be looking at the different structures of how the sperm cells are produced and also the female structures on how the egg cells will be produced, gets their nutrition later in order to have fertilization. Okay, so with that, let's continue on. The gonad would be the organ that makes the gametes. Okay, question. Here's a question. Tingnan natin kung makukuha natin. Okay, what's the advantage of sexual reproduction? It produces genetic variation. Yun yung pinaka-importante dito. When an organism undergoes asexual reproduction, yung asexual reproduction, it essentially produces clones. So parehong itsura niyan. So imagine kung meron ng isang pond dito, and then you have certain cells here like algae. Lahat sila ay, for example, ang temperature range lamang na sila can survive, sabihin natin is around mga 20 degrees Celsius, medyo malamig yung panahon. So this algae will continue on doing asexual reproduction. So you would be expecting if the pool will be filled with this algae na ito, all of them would be surviving only at what temperature? At around 20 degrees Celsius. Eh paano kung biglang nagkaroon ng change like what's happening right now? Global warming. Biglang tumaas to 30 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Celsius, 38 degrees Celsius. And last year, we had a heat index of around even 40 degrees Celsius. So what would you expect to the pool filled with the algae that are only able to survive at around 20 degrees Celsius? Yes, they will be all dead. Ang problem, yippee daw, yippee. Okay, they will be all dead. So ano mangyayari dito? None of these cells will survive kasi pare-pareho silang 20 degrees Celsius ang kanilang survival temperature. So that's the problem with asexual reproduction kasi you're only this asexual reproduction would be very viable in very constant environment. However, pagka meron kang what we call this combination of genes, so produce ka ng sexual reproduction, nagpo-produce ka ng variation of traits. So you would be expecting na because of variation, some of the cells or some of the algae might be mas mababa pa doon. Baka sa 18 degrees Celsius, mayroon 20 degrees Celsius which is the mean, pero because of variation, baka merong umabot ng 25, 30 degrees Celsius sa survival nila. They like that temperature. And then bigla nagbago ang temperature, umabot ng 30 degrees, umabot ng 32. So highly likely, may matitira pa rin because there will be a little portion of the cells that are able to survive kasi because of the variation. Namatay yung 18 degrees Celsius, namatay yung 20, namatay yung 25 degrees Celsius cells, pero nabubuhay yung mga around 30 degrees Celsius cells because they are able to adapt, they are able to survive that temperature. And that's why, that's the advantage of sexual reproduction. Okay, I saw a hand a while ago, merong question. So, okay, thank you for that. Tama yun, so makakahirap nga na magkakilala. Kaya, actually, pagka nagkaroon ng human cloning, the lines between families will be diffused. It will be so hard to determine kasi 'di ba nagkaroon ng human cloning tapos kunwari nanay tapos yung ka-clone mo ay clone ng nanay. So ano siya, anak mo, ay sabay ka pareho, twin mo ba siya? So it's very difficult, magkakaroon ngayon ng diffusion, magkakaroon ngayon ng blurring of the family line. So tama 'yun So that will be another disadvantage of sexual reproduction and the advantage of advantage of sexual reproduction. Thank you for that. So let's continue on. So alam na natin yung advantage niya, so that's very important. Okay, here's another question in the picture that you can see. Which is the male? Which is the female? Yung nasa top ba ang male or female? O yung nasa baba ba ang male or female? Can you type in the chat box? Pakisulat nga both. Tingnan natin kung tama yung both. What do you think? Okay, many of you are writing both. Sige. Who's the female? Who's the male? The top or the bottom? Okay, so I can see a lot of both there. And the correct answer is... Anong correct answer dito? Well, the answer is yes. Tama kayo, both. Kasi it's a hermaphrodite containing both the male and the female reproductive system. Okay, very good. So that's indeed, tama si Audrey, tama kayong lahat. Hermaphroditism siya. So, ngayon, very characteristic sa animals, there would be certain animals that are termed to be hermaphrodite. So that's another how do you say that? Another, hindi naman viewpoint pero another yung isa pang klase ng sexual reproduction here. So let's define what is a hermaphrodite: organism containing both male and female reproductive organs. And this is very common in invertebrates like worms, slugs, and also snails. Okay, so ito ay self-fertilization compared with copulation. So that brings us to the same question then. If invertebrates or certain organisms are able to undergo are hermaphrodite, diba? So pwedeng self-fertilization tapos ay copulation, nakakaroon ng sexual reproduction. Which do you think would be more advantageous? Yung self-fertilization, kasi yung organism both male and female, so pwede na mag-self-copulate siya, self-fertilization, or copulation, different mates. Which what do you think would be more advantageous? The copulation or the self-fertilization? Can you see in the chat box, what do you think would be more advantageous? Okay, that's another question na kailangan natin sagutin yan. Alright, I'm waiting for yes, I can see. So, copulation. So, I can see the answer. So, copulation, long-term, copulation. Short-term, copulation, long-term. Okay, and I can see a lot of copulation words or answers. And the correct answer is... Tama kayo. Very good, everyone. Tap yourself on the shoulder and say, very good, very good. Kasi tama kayo. Kasi in the long term, the copulation will be better. But also, in another perspective, the short term will be propagation, self-fertilization, may advantage din siya. Lalo na kung, for example, ay maliit na yung population mo, kailangan mo paramihin agad. And in that view, medyo advantageous nga naman yung self-fertilization kasi you don't have to find a partner. But the problem is, pagka nagkaroon self-fertilization, this is what we call as some kind of inbreeding. And then as mentioned a while ago, pare-pareho na ngayon yung mga genes, so that if there will be a change in the environment, highly likely ma-wipe out yung buong species ninyo. So that's why copulation is still very advantageous in the long term because as we mentioned a while ago, it is genetic variation, producing variation among the species so that there will be different traits. So pwedeng mag-survive even if the changes, even if the environment changes. Okay, so very good everyone. So tama yung copulation. So let's go to the next slide. So what is hermaphroditism? Condition where an individual has both male and female reproductive systems and they can thereby undergo the process of fertilization. So, ang fertilization, as you already know, mag-fuse together egg cell sa sperm cell. And interestingly, bago pala tayo lumipat pala rito, worms pala ay hermaphrodite. Now, imagine this. Anong sense organs ang wala sa worms? Put in the chat. But yes, the eyes, wala siya ganyan. And the problem with the worms, since they cannot see and they are living underground, what's the chance that they meet a mate? They meet another worm for copulation. So isipin nyo, nasa ilalim ng lupa, ganyan. So it would be napakaliit ng chance, So imagine that they don't have eyes, although they might have other senses, but the eyes are not present because very dark siya. So ito yung worm. Okay, sabi ng worm, nasa kaya yung aking kapartner. Ay, naku, hindi na pala sila nagkita at nagkalampasan sila. So there's a very little chance or at a small chance na sila ay makita. Kaya ano mangyayari? So, kung ikigiit talaga yung copulation, then the species will die because rarely na magkita. Imagine the whole earth, isang acre ng lupa. Tapos meron lang kayong 2-4 na worms. So paano kayo magkikita yung 2 o 4 na worms yan in 1 acre? So malabo. So it would be advantageous ngayon na magkaroon ng fertilization. So tama kayo, in the short term indeed advantageous ang self-fertilization, at least for hermaphrodites. Okay? So ngayon, pag-uusapan natin kanina, we showed in the quiz kanina, internal and external fertilization. So this is already very familiar with you. So in internal fertilization, the idea here is that the sperm cell is deposited inside of the reproductive system of the female. So that's what is the very important characteristic of that. So merong structures that are very important, the male reproductive system that will deposit yung sperm cells inside of the female reproductive system. But the external fertilization is quite different since they are living in a watery environment. Pwedeng lulutang-lutang na lamang yung mga sperm cell and egg cell. So there's really not a need for internal fertilization. So what they do is to just secrete out the egg cell in the water, secrete out the sperm cell in the water, and bahala na silang magkita-kita sa kalagitnaan ng tubig. So that's the difference between internal and external fertilization. Can I see a thumbs up if you're able to understand yung part na iyon? Okay, thumbs up if you're able to understand. Yan. Okay, so thank you very much for that. So let's continue on. Okay, so external fertilization, as you can see here, happens when egg cells are released by the female outside of the body, as well as a sperm cell also released outside of the body. The internal fertilization, as mentioned a while ago, this is very characteristic of terrestrial animals. The act of mating or the act of copulation, the act of sex or intercourse is a mechanism which will be allowing sperm cells to be deposited in the female reproductive tract. Okay? Okay, can you hear me clearly everyone? So medyo naglalag ako, so I'm not sure if dumarating yung aking. Am I still online? Can I see a thumbs up if still online? Yan, okay, sige. So, internal and also external fertilization. And here's an important question. Bakit? For terrestrial organisms, bakit kailangan ang internal fertilization? not external fertilization. Your answer is very correct. So very vulnerable actually ang sperm cell and egg cell in the terrestrial environment kasi sabi as well a while ago, walang water available in the terrestrial environment. As compared to the fishes, as compared to the amphibians, the frogs, they will spawn out their egg cell and sperm cell in the water and magso-survive yung egg cell and sperm cell kasi nasa watery environment, hindi matutuyo ang mga gamits na yan. However, in the terrestrial environment, lupa, grass, air, yan yung terrestrial environment, arid, wala masyadong tubig. So if the temperature ay mataas, that's right, tama yun, ano? So kaya pagka nasa labas ang egg cell and sperm cell, just like external fertilization, but without the water, the gametes will die. And all of the species will die kasi there will no longer be any sexual and there will be no longer any reproduction that will happen. Kaya very important talaga na ma-deposit. Ano ba ang condition ng female reproductive tract? It's moist. There is actually water there that will allow the sperm cell to survive inside of the reproductive tract. So kung nasa labas yung sperm cell, mamamatay, matutuyo. So there must be a mechanism, there must be a behavior that will allow the sperm cell to be inserted inside of the female reproductive tract para dire-diretso sa moist environment and the sperm cell will survive, eventually reaching now the egg cell for fertilization and eventually producing another organism. Yes, that's why merong fluids talaga sa womb ng female to maintain ambient temperature, to maintain the condition important for the sperm cell to survive. Pero just to mention, later on as we go to the female reproductive tract, merong mga systems that will cause many of the sperm cells to die. So only the fittest of the sperm cell will survive in order to fertilize yung pinaka egg cell dyan. So, hindi lahat ng sperm cell. And we will be mentioning later on 300 million sperm cells in just one act of sexual reproduction ang idinideposit ng male. And out of the 300 million, ilan ang mag-fertilize? Isa lang. So you can imagine tawag ito parang Hunger Games yan. May the odds be against you. So the odds are against the 299 blah 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 millions of sperm. Only one sperm cell would be fertilizing it. So it's amazing lang talaga, amazing. Okay, let's continue on. We'll be discussing that later on, so we'll reserve the amazing discussion next time around. So again, external fertilization outside. So hindi ko na masyado i-discuss to kasi we just repeated the discussion. Internal fertilization requires the act of mating or copulation. That's why the sperm cell must fertilize the egg cell, and that's internal fertilization. So very interesting siya. Okay, ngayon, kung may mga questions tayo kanina, tanungin ko kayo, are the following pictures internal fertilization or external fertilization? Starting with this, starfishes, please type in the chat box, is that internal fertilization or external fertilization? Let me see kung ano ang inyong mga kasagutan. Okay, I can see a lot of answers. Okay, external. Meron ba tayong internal? Okay, I can see only external. The correct answer for this one is external fertilization. Very good. Anong clue ninyo? Can you write in the chat box, anong clue ninyo? Bakit external? The environment. At ano yung environment na yan? Nasa water siya. So when you see the water, highly likely na yan ay external fertilization. That's a clue already for you, ha? Okay, next picture. Yan. Is that internal or external fertilization? Okay, I can see the answers. Okay, very nice. The answer to this is, okay, wala na ako iba nakita kundi exerbac. Okay, parang external na nakikita ko. So that's right. Correct answer is external fertilization. Question, anong organism yan? Anong organism yan? Yan ay, okay, it's a sea anemone. Okay, very good. Anemone yan. And where can you find the anemone? As you mentioned already, in the seas. Kaya watery environment pa rin yan. Very nice. Next picture, how about this one? Oh, ano yan? Okay, is that internal or external fertilization? Yan, okay. Okay, I can see na. Okay, may nakita ko external, may kita ko internal. So, tingnan natin kung ang tama. Is it external or internal fertilization? So, sabi ko nga sa inyo, okay lang magkamali. Basta huwag magkakamali sa LT1. Correct answer here is internal fertilization. Anong clue ninyo? Anong clue ninyo? Bakit internal fertilization siya? Okay, the egg, it's on land. It's a land animal, that's right. And so terrestrial siya. There's no water. It's not a water. Very good. Okay, let's look at the next picture. How about this one? Yan. Okay, what is this? Internal fertilization or external fertilization? Okay, it's a Sigma lobster. That's right. Okay, I can see your answers now. Very nice. Correct answer there is kitang-kita and you know this already. So nakukuha niyo na yung pinaka pattern. Okay, it's external fertilization. Okay, bakit? Saan nakikita ang lobster? Saan nakikita ang lobster? Okay, it's underwater. So this is it's underwater, highly likely to be external, kaya total talaga external fertilization. It is in the seas, that's right. Okay, ito yung nakikita niyo sa bahay ninyo, sa bubong ninyo, sa likuran ng pinto ninyo. Pag naiipit ng pinto, 'di ba? Yung nangangamoy bigla sa bakit may mabaho yata sa pinto? Bukas ay merong butike. Okay, the correct answer here is yes, it is internal fertilization. Oh, you know the pattern already. Bakit? Anong dahilan? What's the clue? The clue is, siya ay, yes, a reptile. Aside from being a reptile, tama, terrestrial, land, nasa bahay ninyo. Okay, tama yun. Okay, so very good everyone. Very good. Meron pa ba ang picture? Wala nang picture. So, we now know about internal and external fertilization. We now know about the sexual and the asexual reproduction. We know about copulation and self-fertilization. So marami na tayong alam tungkol sa animal sexual reproduction. Ngayon, punta naman tayo sa mode of reproduction. That's why we have to take note of the words oviparous, ovoviviparous, and viviparous. So very interesting to. Starting with ito medyo nakakalito siya, pero may clue ako ibibigay sa inyo. I make use of this clue nung ako'y college para maalala ko, hindi ako malito. So take note of the word oviparous. Yung ovi, anong papasok sa isipan ninyo? What is the meaning of ovi? Or what at least it is related to? Yung ovi. Yes, it's the egg. So now you have an idea na ang oviparous are organisms that are producing young by means of eggs that hatch after being laid by their parents such as birds. Okay, so oviparous, by the word ovi, ang clue nyo agad ay egg. These are egg-laying organisms. Nag-hatch ang young from the egg after na mailay siya outside of the body. So here's an example of that. This is a bird. So that would be oviparous. Okay, next naman dito, ano naman yung viviparous? So, ito ang viviparous. Ang ginagawa ko namang style para maalala ko yung, diba, yung viva, laban, viva, life, buhay, mabuhay, parang gano'n. Okay, so ang vivi ay related with life, related with living. So the idea here is, okay, producing the young that had already developed inside of the body, such as human. Living na kaagad siya, ganun na kaagad siya. Kaya pag ipinanganak yan, it will be the same. So, ang development is actually inside of the womb of the mom. Unlike the oviparous na, pagka nasa loob ng egg, doon pala magsa-start mag-develop after mailay outside the body yung egg. So that's oviparous. Viviparous, buhay na, mabuhay, living na already inside of the mother's womb. So examples would be humans, or would you believe mammals, then dolphin, ganun din. So nagde-develop muna inside of the dolphin mother's womb, saka ipapanganak palabas. Then we also have the cows, at saka itong black na to, parang bull yata ito. Basta yan, related. Cattle. So that would be it. So that's viviparous. Okay, can I see a thumbs up if you're able to understand this? Okay, thumbs up. Okay, very good everyone. Ngayon, ano naman yung ovoviviparous? Pagdikitin nyo, pagsamahin nyo, ano yung ovo? Egg. Ano yung vivi? Ano yung vivi? Live inside. So, anong idea? Eggs are developed or eggs are produced inside of the mother's womb, but it hatches inside, producing a living organism inside the womb. So very interesting siya. And that is example nito. As you can see here, merong mga eggs dito, pero later mag-hatch siya. Producing young by means of eggs that hatch within the parent, such as manta rays. Kaya very interesting. Ngayon, hindi na kayo malilito kasi very clear yung clues. Ovo, egg laying outside. VV, live inside. Ovo, VV, eggs that hatch inside of the mother's womb. Okay, can I say celebratory emiticon if you're able to understand that portion? So madali lang ha, hindi na kayo mahirapan. Okay, with that, let's have some, so oviparity, as mentioned a while ago, fertilized eggs that contain a yolk, and then the young is developed enough to be hatched. So it's outside the mother's womb. Ovoviviparity or oviviparity, fertilized eggs are developed inside the female's body, and then after that ay nagde-develop, nag-hatch sa inside and then released later. Vivipary, born alive. So nagde-develop inside and then ibo-born siya as is, alive na alive siya. Okay, question is this, ano yan? Is this ovoparity, ovoviviparity, or viviparity? What do you think? Ano sa tatlo yan? Yang bats na yan. Okay, viviparity. So tingnan natin kung tama. Walang iba. Sige, let's see. The answer to this is, yes, it is viviparous. Viviparity yan. Okay, how about this one? Okay, is that ovo? Is that ovo vivi? Or is that viviparity? Okay, what do you think? That is, of course, you're very familiar. It is an ostrich. What is that? All right, so the answer is, yes, that's right. It is oviparity or oviparous. Anong clue ninyo? Anong clue ninyo? Bakit so oviparous? What's the clue? Yes, it's the bird. It's a bird. Kaya egg producing siya. Very good, everyone. Ang dali, diba? Basta alam niyo yung pinaka-pattern, saka alam niyo yung mga clues. Okay, how about this one? Yan. That is a what? What is that? That is a... Yan. So ano siya? Is it ovo? Is it ovo-vivi? Or is it viviparity? Oviparous. Kasi ang crocodiles, reptiles are actually what? They are egg laying. That's right. It's egg laying. It is related with birds. And interestingly, sinasabi ng mga scientists that the birds actually evolved from reptiles. So highly likely na yung pagiging egg laying ng birds at egg laying ng crocodiles ay related because they're actually related evolutionarily speaking. That's right, nag-hatch din yung mga yung crocodiles inside of the egg. Okay, let's go to another. I think I have one more picture. Yeah, what is that? Is it ovo? Is it ovovivi? Is it viviparity? Okay, I see answers here. Okay, that's right. Giraffe siya. That's right. Okay, this is, let's see. Yes, it is viviparity or viviparous. So, born, living. Okay, so buhay na ipinapanganak iyan. Okay, I think this is the last one. What is this? Is it ovo? Is it ovovivi? Or is it viviparity? Ayan. Okay, very nice. So, ito, malaking clue na sa inyo. Ayan. The correct answer is ovoviviparous because sharks would be the best example of ovoviviparous organism. Okay, meron pa ba ako dito? Okay, wala na. So, for the last few minutes, we'll just look at the, what we call this, the survey of organisms. I'll go through this very fast para makita natin yung comparison na sexual reproduction with the whole of the phyla of the animal. So, starting with poriferans, okay, these are sponges. Would you believe sponge would be an animal? But the lowest kind, okay, in the evolutionary lineage. Okay, so for the asexual reproduction, siya ay fragmentation. So nagpa-fragment siya and then produce another sponge. Sexual reproduction, meron o wala? What do you think? Meron o wala? Thumbs up kung meron, thumbs down kung wala. Okay, thumbs up kung meron, thumbs down kung wala. Okay, so meron thumbs up, meron thumbs down. So tingnan natin kung sinong tama. Sabi ko sa inyo, okay lang magkamali, wag lang magkamali sa LT1. Correct answer here is meron. They're actually hermaphrodites. Sequential hermaphroditism. Ang ibig sabihin ng sequential Hermaphroditism is by sequence. So for example, a few days, panay sperm cells lang. In the next few days, panay egg cells lang. So, ang tanong, paano sila makikita yung egg cell at sperm cell? Kung kagsalitan sila, kung sperm cell lang, walang mamimit na egg cell. Well, ang nakakatuwa dito, marami silang sponges. Iba-ibang sequence sila. So, may sponge siguro sa kaliwa na sperm cell ang sequence niya ngayon. Meron naman dito sa kanan na egg cell ang kanyang sequence. At that time, kaya mag-meet pa rin ng egg cell at sperm cell. Okay? Let's go to the Cnidarians. Anemones, Hydra, jellies, asexual reproduction, fission, and budding. Tapos sexual reproduction naman ay asexually produced medusae. So gametes that fuse and develop into a polyp. So seemingly asexually reproduction ang nangyayari sa mga Cnidarians na ito. Fission and budding, and then nagkakaroon din ng fusion of gametes din lang. So rotiferans, rotifers, parthenogenesis for asexual reproduction, and for sexual reproduction, they are dioecious. Female produce eggs, males produce sperms, and then dimorphic, females are 10 times bigger than males. So the males can be distinguished from the females, and dioecious means that they have separate individuals for a male, separated from the female. Annelids, earthworms, liches, they have fission and budding, surprisingly, and most are monoecious. There are hermaphrodites, although some are dioecious. So here are examples of the annelid budding and then the annelid fission. You can see that. And also the earthworms, there will be sexual reproduction. For nematodes, roundworms or ascaris, some can undergo parthenogenesis. Most are dioecious, some are monoecious or hermaphrodites. So finally, we go to the last stretch of the table. So platyhelminths or tapeworms or planaria undergo fission and are hermaphroditic. Mollusks like snails, squids, octopus, and bivalves, what kind of asexual reproduction? Well, none at all. What kind of sexual reproduction? They are dioecious, others are monoecious, hermaphrodites, and there is internal and also external fertilization. For the echinoderms like caesars, sea urchins, fragmentation for asexual reproduction, and they are true hermaphrodites, and some are sequential hermaphrodites. For the arthropods, insects and spiders, crustaceans, the asexual reproduction is parthenogenesis for some, and they are dioecious for terrestrial species, internal fertilization, and aquatic species are internal and external fertilization. Finally, you have the chordates, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, birds, and fishes. So no asexual reproduction, generally speaking, and often dioecious, internal fertilization for terrestrial and internal and external fertilization for aquatic species. And that ends the discussion for 3.1.